The first time I saw him pacing beside our car, we were doing over 100 kilometers an hour. That's the line that stayed with me ever since that night. The moment the trip that was supposed to be a simple drive home became something I can't explain or forget. It started just past midnight on a narrow back road cutting through the forest. My girlfriend, Leah, and I were coming back from a weekend by the lake. We were tired, but in good spirits, replaying songs from the trip and laughing about how empty the highway had been. When the GPS announced a faster alternate route, we didn't think twice. It shaved off 40 minutes, or at least, that's what it said, before it started glitching. Within 20 minutes, we were surrounded by trees on both sides. The yellow lines had faded to ghosts under the headlights. Rain began to fall, soft at first, then steady, rhythmic, like fingertips tapping on the roof. The radio crackled, then went silent. It wasn't just static. It died mid-song. Even the GPS voice cut out with a clipped, broken word, recalcula. For a while, we drove in silence. Only the sound of rain and the tires pressing through puddles filled the cabin. I remember the smell of wet asphalt and pine, and the faint fog seeping from the vents, even though the air conditioning was off. Maybe it's the weather, Leah said, her voice half awake. She scrolled through her phone, but it showed no service. My phone, same thing. When the road curved, I saw movement, just a flicker of something pale in the edge of the high beams. I slowed down, scanning the tree line. Probably a deer? I said, more to myself than to her. The forest swallowed the light again, and we drove on. But a few minutes later, I noticed it again. Movement, but closer this time. A shape, a figure, the kind of quick, blurry glimpse that makes your chest tighten before your brain catches up. Did you see that? I asked. Leah glanced up. See what? I didn't answer because I wasn't sure. All I knew was that every instinct screamed to keep driving, to not stop out here. Then, around the next bend, I finally saw it clearly. A man, or at least something shaped like one, pacing along the driver's side of the car. His movements were jerky, unnatural, like someone walking underwater but too fast. His head was down, arms swinging loosely at his sides. I looked at the speedometer. We were doing 102 km/h. I slammed the brakes. The figure was gone. Just road and rain. What are you doing? Leah shouted. I started, but the words broke apart as I stared into the rearview mirror. There was nothing behind us, just endless darkness and the faint glint of rain. For a few minutes, we didn't talk. The only sound was the wipers dragging water from the glass. Then, faintly, tap, 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 from the passenger side window. Leah turned toward it slowly, her face pale in the glow of the dashboard. There was nothing there, and yet the tapping continued, perfectly in sync with the rhythm of footsteps. The tapping lasted maybe 10 seconds. 10 seconds that stretched longer than the drive itself. Leah whispered, "It's probably just a branch." But there were no trees close enough to touch the car. The sound was deliberate, slow, patient, intentional. I eased my foot onto the gas, pushing the car forward. The noise stopped. For a moment, I thought that was it. Maybe the mind playing tricks in the dark. But then the headlights caught something on the road ahead. Footprints. Clear, wet, bare footprints, stretching in a straight line down the middle of the asphalt. each one glistening with rain. We slowed to a crawl. They weren't leading away from us. They were facing toward us. "What the hell?" Leah murmured. We followed the trail for nearly 50 meters before it just stopped. No sign of anyone. No car, no light, no movement. Just the endless hiss of rain and the hum of the engine idling. That's when the high beams flickered. Once, twice, and cut out. Total darkness. The only light left came from the dashboard glow. It painted Leah's face pale green as she stared forward, breathing shallow. I leaned out slightly, tapping the headlight switch, but nothing happened. When I sat back, I noticed something through the windshield. Someone was standing at the edge of the light, just barely visible, a silhouette in the rain. A man, maybe, though his proportions looked off. His head tilted downward, his arms too long, hands swaying slightly, as if his joints didn't quite fit right. He wasn't moving, just standing there. I whispered, "Leah, don't move." She didn't ask why. She just froze, eyes wide. The figure started pacing again. One step, another, except the sound didn't match the distance. It echoed too close, as if he were walking beside us again. That's when the car shuddered. A dull thud against the back window. Leah screamed. I floored the accelerator, tires spinning on the wet pavement before catching. The car lurched forward. The figure vanished in the rearview mirror as quickly as he'd appeared. We didn't stop until we reached an intersection, one that wasn't T on the map. No signs, no lights, just two roads cutting through black forest. I turned left, mostly out of panic. A few minutes later, a single flickering streetlight appeared up ahead. Relief hit me. Civilization, finally. Then we realized what was under it. A car, same make, same color as ours, parked perfectly in the middle of the road. Hazard lights blinking. Leah gasped. "That looks like..." "It's not ours," I cut in. But even as I said it, my chest tightened. The license plate, it was the same. I slammed on the brakes. The hazard lights on the other car turned off. Then, for the first time that night, the radio crackled back to life. It was our voices, us, laughing, singing, replaying the same songs we'd been listening to hours earlier. And beneath that static laughter, a low voice whispered, "You shouldn't have turned here." I didn't remember recording anything. Hands shaking, I tapped play. At first, it was just static. The soft hiss of rain mixed with faint breathing. Then, faintly, my own voice came through. "We shouldn't have taken this road." Then Leah's voice. "Did you hear that tapping again?" I froze. I'd heard those exact words earlier that night, back when we were still on the forest road. This wasn't a recording from now. It was from then. The file ended abruptly with a sound like the car door opening. Then silence. I stared at the phone screen, numb. My reflection in the black glass door of the fridge looked wrong, slightly distorted, out of sync with my movements. When I turned my head, the reflection lagged, just for half a second. From outside, the car horn blared. Once, twice, then again. I sprinted out into the rain. Leah was in the passenger seat, eyes wide, hands pressed against the window. She was mouthing something. "Behind you." I turned. The gas pump nozzle lay on the ground, swinging slowly. The hose hissed softly, leaking droplets that shimmered under the neon sign. And beyond it, maybe 20 feet away, stood the same man, pacing, slow and deliberate, along the edge of the lot. Only now, in the faint orange light, I could see him clearly. His clothes were soaked, clinging to his body. His mouth was moving, though I couldn't hear words. Just a faint hum, like a broken radio signal. Then, without warning, he stopped pacing, his head lifted, eyes reflecting the light, like wet glass, and he started walking toward me. I jumped into the car, slammed the door, and jammed the keys into the ignition. The engine sputtered, coughed, then died. "Come on," I shouted, hitting the wheel. Leah was sobbing beside me. The figure kept walking, steady, unfazed by the rain or the cold. 10 feet away. 5. Then the headlights flickered on again. Bright, blinding. And in that instant, he wasn't there anymore. Just empty road. The car finally started. I didn't wait to question it. We sped off, tires screeching, gravel scattering in every direction. The gas station disappeared behind us, like it had never existed. We drove for what felt like hours, through endless darkness, until finally, we saw the glow of city lights on the horizon. Relief washed over me. I reached over to squeeze Leia's hand. She didn't squeeze back. When I looked, she was staring straight ahead, her face expressionless, eyes locked on the road. "Leah?" I whispered. No response. Then, quietly, from her phone in the cup holder, the one that hadn't worked all night, came the faint sound of the same static recording. My voice again, repeating over and over, "We shouldn't have taken this road." I didn't say a word for the rest of the drive. The city lights were getting closer, yet somehow, the darkness around us never lifted. Leia just sat there, still, silent, breathing slow. Her phone continued playing that same recording, looping again and again. My voice, her voice, then the static. I reached for it, but before I could grab the phone, she turned her head slightly toward me. "Don't stop it," she whispered. Her tone, flat, almost mechanical, didn't sound like her at all. "Leah, what's wrong with you?" I asked. She didn't answer. She just turned her head back toward the windshield and smiled faintly. That's when I noticed the reflection in the glass again. The faint outline of our faces, mine and hers, cast by the dashboard light. But her reflection wasn't smiling. It was screaming. No sound, just the wide open mouth and terrified eyes, silently trapped behind the glass. My heart stopped. I slammed on the brakes. The car screeched to a halt on the empty road. Rain hammered the roof again, like nails. "Leah!" I shouted. She blinked, and then she was gone, not vanished into thin air. Her seat was still warm, her jacket still there, but she wasn't in the car anymore. Just gone. The passenger door was locked, never opened. I looked outside, calling her name, scanning the wet asphalt under the dim orange glow of the streetlights. Nothing but the sound of the storm. That's when I saw the reflection again. Not in the windshield this time, but in the side mirror. She was standing behind the car, soaked, shivering, eyes dark and hollow. I turned around. No one there. Looked back at the mirror. She was closer. I floored the gas pedal. The car lurched forward, engine roaring. I didn't stop until I hit the city limits, parked under the first streetlight I could find, and jumped out. Everything around me felt normal again. The hum of traffic, the smell of wet concrete, civilization. I pulled out my phone. Signal bars full again. GPS back to normal. It was 3:17 a.m. One new notification. Audio file saved. Lee recording 2, MP3. I played it. Static, breathing. Then my own voice whispering, She's not gone. The audio ended with a faint tapping, like fingers against glass. I looked up instinctively. The rearview mirror of my car faced me, and behind my reflection, in the back seat, a pale face, eyes wide open, mouth frozen in a silent scream.